that's live. Let me get my headphones. Alright, so welcome back. Another session. So how this little section's going is in one of the last videos I explained kind of the progression. And now this is the progression up to 75 minutes. And so with this one, so I'm going 42 and a half, 42 and a half. And then yesterday was 45, 45. And then instead of going just like how we had gone to then say 37 and a half, 37 and a half, then 40, 40, and then the hour, here it could be 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 50, 50, and then 75. Instead of doing that, I'm doing a 60 in the middle of it. So 45, 45, and then another 60, and then I'll do 47 and a half, 47 and a half, 50, 50, and then hit the 75. And reason being that as you saw in the last heat session, the last 60-minute one, it didn't go particularly well. Not from a standpoint of, legs being sore or anything like that. It was more just the fact that because the power meter was reading so low, and me being stupid trying to hit the same power as I normally would, it meant that I was sitting in zone 4 heat strain for like 21 minutes, which I don't recommend. Not that it caused any problems or anything, because fortunately it's such a short session still that you're not going to give yourself heat stroke in 20 minutes, right? Well, I mean, you could, but it's not like I was at 3 hours or something like that. What's going on here? So got away with it basically, but it's hard to do. Why is this damn shoes? There we go. Ow. That hurt. Okay, I'm stuck. There we go. Okay. Funny, sometimes it's like, what the hell? Okay, we're on. Let me just actually get my music to go from here.
How you doing?
Yeah, no, how you doing?
And I'm really looking forward to all this music I got coming your way.
Thanks.
Gonna get things started with Zach Diamond, plus some more stuff you've been into.
Cool. Cool stuff. Connect. Alright, we're good. Go! Why is he not moving? I'm pedaling. Stupid game sometimes. It's so stupid. Swift, you killed me. Amazing. You're lucky I'm in a good mood right now. Stupid thing. Go! Anyways, so let me turn this. I don't know why it's so loud, but
So, you saw in the triathlon world today, what an absolute mess in Dubai. First of all, if we take you through the race, um, dumbest course I've ever seen, as a lot of T100 courses are, but this one was just like, wow, did we pick like this looks like a place where you go to get murdered, like or like a dump a body, because it's just like middle of nowhere, um, just industrial. Like there's not even businesses around, like industrial businesses. Just like this is like, do people live here? Because I don't see anyone, and I don't see houses. I don't see nothing. Um, what a horrible place for a race location. And it's like, yes, so you can see, the Dubai skyline in the background. It's like, oh, that's nice. But it's like, race there. Why not race there? Oy, oy. All these races out there. I hope Qatar's got a better course. Not that I really care, but the T100 too much anyways. But it's just like, it's not inspiring watching. Like, it's just, you look at Marbella and you're like, and it's Marbella. There are a lot of Canadians and Americans going there and being like Marbella, and it's like, it's Marbella, but okay. So, anyways, you look at that in comparison, and it's like, what a beautiful place. I remember it; it was stunning. And yeah, it was a stunning place. Um, Lots of money, very wealthy, extremely wealthy. But so the race itself, it's like you look and you're like, this is just a stupid place to hold a race, and it's like, it is really boring when you're watching and you're being like, there's not a single fan on the sideline, not one. I don't see anybody. Horrible, horrible watch. Really boring. And I was waking up like through the night watching and just being like, this is just really boring. Like watching this, and I'm someone who has competed and will again, but it's just like, my God. It's like, it's upsetting because it's like, yeah, it's not going to take off as a sport. Like, if me, of all people, are saying like, this is really boring, um, I should be a automatic watch. You know what I mean? Not someone who's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to watch Qatar. Don't care. Not going to wake up again. But I was somewhat interested in this because Martin Van Riel was in the race, and he's probably in my top 5 favorite triathletes to follow. The Norwegians being 1, Gustav and Christian. And then, yeah, Martin Van Riel probably be number 3. If I was going through it, like, of who, I kind of root for. Those would be the 3: KB, Gustav, and MVR. I'm not like a huge Hayden Wild fan, like, just kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit, but I'm sure he's a good person, nice person. It's just what I get from, the snippets on the camera. It's like, MVR has, some more humor to him that I see. Like, I like seeing some of the, vulnerability at times. I could relate to it a little bit more. Anyways, but the race was an absolute, getting to the race, absolute disaster. If you haven't seen it already, my God, like, wow. So what happened was Hayden and MVR, Martin Van Riel, and Matthias Margier there did an extra lap on the bike. Basically, that was the only way that you were going to beat Hayden, was if he had to do an extra lap on the bike. And turns out he did. And we don't have the full story yet. I heard from Van Riel and Hayden both after the race that there was a gate blocking transition, like one of the barriers, and so they hadn't opened it up yet. That's what I've heard. Some people said, well, no, on the coverage you can see it's open. I don't know. I'm just going based on what Hayden Wild and Martin Real said, which was there was a gate blocking it. So I'm going based on that. I will preface and say this kind of hits home for me, being in a much smaller environment, but I got royally screwed over at the Baden Duathlon in 2019. I was defending champion, still have the course record. It was only for 2 years that it went, but I wish it came back. But yeah, in 2019, so first 5K, I opened up a gap. I think I ran 15:50 for the first 5. It was around that, and it's hilly, and like there's a really good hill in the first couple K, and then through a trail. And I did it in spikeless cross-country flats. So like no super shoes. Like we're talking the antithesis, the opposite of super shoes. These had a stack height of 11 millimeters front and 11 millimeters rear and 7 millimeters front. So basically barefoot shoes. And yeah, 15:50 for it. So I mean, I was in pretty good run shape at that point, for sure. Because like on a straight up course with super shoes, like it was maybe pretty close to 15 flat, I would think, or like very close. Anyway, so opened up a gap, 15:50, and then rolled out onto the bike and was absolutely destroying. Like win in the bag. First, 6-7K, lead is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. I looked behind me at one point at 5K. Second place was gone. Like couldn't see. It was like basically just keep pedaling and you got the win. And well, didn't happen because I kept pedaling, and I kept pedaling pretty much all the way to Kitchener. Like I missed. There was a turn on the course, and I missed it. And the reason was there was nobody at the turn, no marshal, telling you to go which way. There were no arrows on the road, and there was no pylon at all showing that this is where the turn was. And I remember a tri-official came to me after and was like, "Oh no, there are people there," and I'm like, "No, they weren't." I was there. They weren't there. They stayed in the arena the whole time, and they're telling me what was there. And I was like, no, I actually know what was there because I was out on the course. Thank you. And there was nobody there. And I was right there. Nobody was anticipating somebody being there so soon. And I got there before anybody got out of the car to direct me. And so I kept biking, as I said, another like 10K, knowing basically like 5K later, like I must have missed the turn because I'm seeing a lot of cars now. But being in Ontario, at the same time, I'm not like, oh well, I'm definitely not on the course anymore because there's cars, right? It's like it's Ontario. I'm surprised we're not taking a turn onto the 401. Like, anything could happen in Ontario racing, right? There's no rules. It's the Wild West. And so the fact that I'm going through traffic lights, like, I'm like, I mean, it could be the race. It's an odd one, but could be. Eventually I figured it out the longer the time went and just turned around. And threw a bit of a fit at the end. Or I didn't throw a fit. The only time I actually got upset, like I came back and I was disappointed. Like I didn't even go on the second run because I'd done like 50K bike. It was supposed to be 30. And I had done like 50. And I came back and I was like disappointed, but it was when an Ontario official came over and was like accusing me, as I said, of saying like, oh, you know, how'd you miss the turn or whatever. Like, and there was someone there, and I'm like, no, there wasn't. And that's when I don't like the word, but that's when I got a little triggered and was like, you know what? Back off, because they were coming aggressively. It's the same person that I had in Guelph, actually. Same woman that came to me, to my dad, who was literally like 4 inches, had like his big toe in transition, as the race was already over at that point, and she comes over and it's like, technically, you're not supposed to be in transition unless you're a competitor. And I'm like, he's taking my water bottle back to the car. Like, he's got his foot in the transition. He's not in there. Well, technically he's not allowed in there. It's like, you know what, sawed off. Like, and that's, again, same thing. I got upset. It's like, what's your point? Like, what's your problem here? The race has been over for 3 hours. Like, these are the types of people that it's like, they were obviously a hall monitor in school, and they loved that little power trip. And here, being an official, they've got that chance again, where it's like, oh, yes, I got some power. It's like, you have no power. You don't even get paid. Like, they didn't even give you a sash. Anyways, she'll be gunning for me now if she's watching this. But it just, obviously, it's upsetting when people are stupid for no reason. Any case, apparently the transition was closed for these guys, and so they ended up doing an extra lap. And then you think, okay, surely that's the last of the absolute mess of this race. Morgan Pearson, who was winning, rounding the corner for the finish, then all of a sudden isn't winning, and Mika Nutz crossing the finish line is the leader. And then the second place comes in, and the third place comes in, and fourth. And Morgan Pearson's still running. And we're all like, what the hell's happening? Morgan Pearson's running an extra lap now. Turns out, no. Morgan was the only one actually doing the course. The rest of them were only doing 7 out of 8 laps and turning into the finish. And the reason is because they were being directed to do so. From Mika Nutz's post, he said that the counter was actually saying, go to the finish line. And so a total mess up. And then they end up taking the results just based on where everyone was after 7 laps, not 8. And so Morgan did get the win still, but it did screw over Martin Van Riel and Hayden quite a bit. Hayden didn't need the points, but like Hayden, if it kept going, he would have picked off another 3-4 people and finished maybe 3rd, 4th. Right? He was really closing. He had the fastest run split, faster than Morgan Pearson even, to the 7 lap mark. And Martin was also having a good run split, solid. Not like Hayden's, but solid. And so it was just an absolute mess. First person I feel worse for is probably Martin Van Riel, because he needed the points, and we know he's had some struggles this season, getting into form and mentally. It's difficult when you're not in form, and like if you're him, like you're world champion caliber athlete, and yet you're not performing like it. That's like just crushes your heart, crushes your soul. Again, I know I'm not at his level, but I know the feeling when what you're capable of doing, and yet you're just not performing at that. That's been the story of me for almost a decade. It's like, I've known what I could run, what I could bike, etc., and yet been let down because of injuries and or times when I wasn't injured and feeling actually okay, and then taken down by technical issues or something like that, like double punctures. Like that one in Lanzarote, let me tell you, that one broke my heart, man. Let me tell you the story of Lanzarote for 2 seconds. story of Lanzarote for 2 seconds is, so swim gets canceled, and it turns it into a start where everyone starts outside of the transition zone, and then we're all going to run into transition towards our bikes. So they didn't start with a bike, or a run, sorry, like a duathlon start. They did it just like, almost like a Le Mans style start, where you're standing, nearer to your bike. And it was absolute chaos, because you had like 50, 60 guys just run into transition all at the same time, going through this really small little area, getting their bags and stuff like that, because our stuff's still, hanging, like helmets and stuff, hanging in the rack. And I get on the bike, and someone who gets on with me, at the same time, he's looking down at his feet, trying to get his feet into his shoes, and he rides right into the side of me, like literally T-bones me. And when he did so, he knocked my shoe off the pedal, because I hadn't clipped in yet. And so he knocks it off the pedal, and it kind of goes off, flying a little bit, a couple meters, 3 meters, 4 meters out. And so literally in the midst of all this chaos, where people are getting onto the bike and onto the mountain line, I'm now needing to like walk my bike over to the side, like dodge around people, and walk backwards towards the mountain line, go back, like literally against the flow of traffic. So you can imagine what chaos there was with, as I said, like 50 guys all on the mountain line at the same time, and you're having to go backwards against it to get your shoe off the ground. So I get my shoe off the ground, and because of the dynamics of everyone getting on the bike at the same time, I remember I still have some of the pictures from it. It was a frickin' peloton. Might have been riding in a team time trial. There was like 40 guys, just team time trialing it. And then there was me, who's now, because of just that little thing that wasn't my fault, I'm off on my own. And it's me and my power against, as I said, like 40 guys in a team time trial formation, basically. So I put out my lifetime best, and it isn't currently, I beat it just this fall, but at the time, I had put out a lifetime best 45-minute power, like within a race. Best I've ever ridden. And managed somehow to bridge up to the monster group on the climb up to the Volcano National Park. It was like perfect timing. That like literally I was given a bit of a gift in that here was this climb where I had a chance to bridge. And so I got the bridge, got right up to the group, and was like, yes. And as soon as I got up, not 2-3 minutes later, puncture on front, on the descent from that climb, which is always a little scary, puncturing like that, especially on a clincher, when you might have like a blowout where it comes right off the rim. Tubular, that ain't gonna happen, but this was a clincher. I get off the bike, I fix it, maybe 4 or 5 minutes later, not even, like, let's say 3 minutes later. It was the blink of an eye, like, from my end. Puncture again. Might have been that I didn't pick out whatever piece of glass, like, it could have been that, like, there might have been a piece of glass or something in there that, I didn't see the first time. Very well could have been that. I'm not saying it was, 2 complete random punctures. Could have been user error, and that, as I said, maybe changed it and didn't see, some piece of gravel or grass or something just hiding in there. But nonetheless, a second puncture. And at that point, well, I got no more spares. We're out. Um, no more CO2. We're clear out. And then I sat there, or stood there, sorry, at the side of the road for a little less than 15 minutes. I think it was around 12 in the end, watching every single person. Ah, here's the pro women going by. All of them. No one stopped, but anyways, seeing all of them go by. Hey, there are the age grouper men going by. And I'm still waiting, standing with my tire, like the wheel. Eventually, neutral support came, they changed it, but race was over at that point. And I mean, I wasn't on track for a good run anyways. My hip, I had crashed 2 weeks before in Weymouth, and really messed up my hip. The same one that I had surgery on. Funnily enough, one of the scars from the operation here was right on top of the scar from Weymouth. It was kind of cool. There's a scar on top of a scar from the crash in Weymouth. So my hip was just royally messed up from that. So I got out into that run in Lanzarote. I was already kind of mentally just ready to quit triathlon basically at that point. But somehow I limped, like just full on hobbled through the entire half marathon because I was like, I've come here for 3 races. Weymouth, which I had to DNF because of the crash and my hip. The next weekend I was supposed to do an Olympic. Pulled out of that as well because I couldn't walk on the hip still. And then here was race number 3. And it was like, I came here to do 3 races. At this point in time, we have 0 medals. 0 finisher medals. 0 to show from it. From a big investment of a trip. And so it's just like, I'm finishing this race. I do not care. And so I literally dragged my leg. Like I could barely run. I could barely walk heading into that race. Just because my hip was so messed up. It turns out I had torn rec fem from the crash. Had an ultrasound a little bit later. It was a small little tear. Not much. But enough. And yeah, had a tear in the hip flexor there in rec fem. Like right up at the hip. And yeah, just shuffled very slowly, but actually did okay in the last 10K. Last 10K was like almost 40. First 10K was really slow, because it was just like, am I really doing this? And then started getting some belief back and kind of figured out how to run basically. Like, okay, how can I run around this thing? But yeah, terrible experience. That's my long-winded way of saying that knowing what you're capable of and the race result in comparison, if it's not up to its level, is mentally just crushing. And I remember laying in bed after that Weymouth race that night, the rest of that week, and just being, oh my God, I was so upset because I was in very good shape going into Weymouth. Like the second time, I mean, was in really good shape, had a really good build through the summer, huge mileage, absolutely huge mileage on the swim, big miles on the bike, reasonably like pretty healthy on the run, actually, and was like, yeah, I'm in, ready to do some damage here, and then, I'm in the group that ends up making the podium, and boom, crash, slid like 100 feet down the road. Thank God it was actually raining, or else it would have been really bad. Like I wouldn't have slid like I did, but I still got the impact. And it really hurt my hip. Like, I think I just kind of twisted in the pedal a little bit. Still got the helmet from it, though. It's got a dent the size of Montana. Saved my life. Totally saved my life. So anyone who doesn't wear a helmet don't know what you're doing. And literally still see people not wearing a helmet. And it's just like, you should see the dent in that helmet. Right here, right on the temple. It's a solid ½ inch thick, like deep, into the helmet. Because I landed right on that side of my head. Whew. Anyways, good times. So the race was a total mess. Is the moral of it. Brought up a lot of memories for me, at least. Frustrating things and various things. And it's just like, yep, I remember that. Remember what that felt like. Yep, been there. Yep, that was really annoying. Yep, that was devastating. I understand Martin Van Riel's post, like 100%. Yep, I know how you're feeling. Yeah, it's horrible. You feel ill. But yeah, I think that's the end of Martin Van Riel for T100. I think he's basically, well, he said it in his post, like he's done with them, which is great, I think. Um, I'll be really happy when he comes over to Ironman. And I think him versus KB can have some really great battles. That'll be a really fun season. Oh. I just realized, sorry, that the bar of the stool's in your way. It looks like. Is it? No, it's not. What am I staring at? What's that line? Maybe it's just a glare from the light. Yeah, it's a glare from the light. Oh, good. That was good. Good build. So today is just one 60-minute ride, no evening ride. Hence letting the heart rate go up a little bit more there with the build. Got all day to recover. No problem. Beauty is with the heat is you're getting all the aerobic stress, but just the legs are fine. As long as you rehydrate, they should be fine. Come the next one. Now, it's not to say that aerobic fatigue isn't a thing. It certainly is. But that's more like macro level type stuff we're talking then. Instead of legs absolutely damaged to the point that you can't do an evening ride. More very short term. So this seems like it's a conveyor belt, right? Like it just takes me up. It's interesting. Kind of a mind warp kind of thing. Hey Siri, what's 39.1 Celsius in Fahrenheit? 102.4. A full degree less than the last time. Which was 3 days ago. So, good. Not to say that I'm not boiling right now, but because it's damn hot. Doing a little bit too much clock watching these last couple minutes. 16 to go. 15:55 to go. 15:50. Should go by pretty quick if I do that. Yeah. Sorry about the glare. I'll have to move the computer slightly so it's not getting that. Not now. Oh, my music is subliminally telling me something. Lost Boy by Ruth B just came on. It's a beautiful song, but it's not exactly motivating. That's another route. It is a stunning song. It's such a good song. This was when music was actually music before Sabrina Carpenter. Girls giving head on the stage, and people are like, wow, this is artistry. And the beauty was, is in terms of empowering for women. Anyone find that it's not really empowering considering she goes down onto her knees and mimics someone pulling her ponytail? It doesn't seem empowering position-wise. Seems kind of like they're using you as a whole. A whole, I said, not a whore. That's why I say this thing's not for kids. In case parts of the inner me come out and we start having these kinds of discussions. How I really feel. Another good song by Akon. Ghetto. Again, when music was music. I actually have this album on CD. I was a big Akon fan. I had this one on CD, Convict on CD, and Freedom on CD. What was this album called? It had Locked Up in it. This one, Lonely. What is this album called? Trouble. Everything coming go. Hey Siri, what's 39.4 Celsius in Fahrenheit? Yeah, we're getting up there. A space heater there. Gets it cooking in here. Keep going like this because I'm trying to get the water out of my ear. Can't hear through the left headphone. Whew. Properly dripping. Anyways, thank you for watching. Time to cool down. Oh, I can't wait to get outside in that nice cold air.